I don't know. Is it yours or?
Sniff it, it's got rum in it, it's his.
Yeah.
Hey, Facebook. Be with you in
You got rum in it.
15 seconds.
Party on. What's the date today? Oh, it's Friday the 13th.
Friday the 13th,
Oh.
2020.
I love that when Jack Sparrow stands up and he goes, something's wrong.
Something's wrong. I look like Keith Richards.
Yeah, good. Finally, Friday morning. Always nice to walk into the control room and see the microphone was left on. Hope you enjoyed all the conversations. And, it's 5 minutes past 10 o'clock, and we're also coming to you live on KRIM FM's Facebook page with Facebook Live. So it's time for your hometown movie guys. Tina, Craig, and Andy with us in the studio. How's everybody doing this morning?
Swimmingly.
Swimmingly.
Beachingly.
Careful how you spell that. And Craig is.
That's really good, yeah.
Yeah, I'm
We're
convinced.
talking about mountains of excrement.
Ah,
Yes.
wow. They're piling
It's
the deep this morning.
acceptable. Yes.
Where do we go from here? One can only imagine.
Well, Randy, I would just like to say from my own depths of my own heart, hello out there,
In
everybody
radio.
in the radio land.
Of course,
You
of course, I
are.
like it. Hey, of course, like we always do on Fridays, we let you know, oh, you got the cat sweatshirt
Yeah.
on today. Oh, with,
Look at the eyeball.
is that pizza?
Yes.
All right.
I got the Punisher.
The Punisher.
Yeah.
And
Craig's just in black.
Craig,
He's
she's just dressed in black.
The man in black.
Well, I tell you though, we always tell you what's going on at the Sawmill Theaters on Friday mornings here with your hometown movie guys. Give you a little bit of an idea of not only the movies that are playing, but some of the opinions from our highly opinionated movie guys. And
That's acclaimed.
acclaimed. They're also called grumpy once in a while. At any rate, we've got a lot to share with you today, and we're going to talk about not only the movies playing there, but also a little bit later in our second half hour, just on Facebook Live, we're going to be talking about addiction movies, movies about addiction, movies that have addiction in them, and stuff along those lines,
As a codicil of drunkenness.
which is just another form of addiction.
Right.
So it's all good. At any rate, first of all, though, to get us started, and boy golly, don't you think we ought to, Craig, what's starting new today at the theater?
Well, we got 2 new films this week.
Two.
Yes, two brand new films. The one that's starting today is Freaky. That's Vince Vaughn.
Right.
Kind of a take on the old Freaky Friday.
Oh,
Right.
nice.
This is the R-rated version.
Huh.
Falls into the comedy horror genre. But Vince Vaughn is a serial killer, and he goes to kill this teenage girl, and when he does, they switch bodies. So the teenage girl
There's
goes
a power
into the-
surge or something.
Yeah, it's a magical
Or something.
dagger, yeah, that whole thing. But so the teenage girl goes into the serial killer's body, and the serial killer goes in the teenage girl's body, and they're kind of stuck there.
Wow.
Yeah, it sounds a little crazy.
Yeah.
Actually, that's kind of funny and got good reviews.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
In the trailer, one of the teenage boys says, "Oh my God, we're gonna be murdered by Killer Barbie."
Vince
No
Vaughn,
word yet on what happened to Ken.
This is not the first time Vince Vaughn has played a serial killer.
Really?
If you remember Clay Pigeons.
I don't not remember
Oh
Clay
my God,
Pigeons.
that's a really good movie. He plays a serial killer, and Janine Garofalo is in that. And
Wow.
Does he kill her?
I'm not going to tell you. That would be a.
I'm only gonna go see it if Garofalo gets
Gets
snuffed.
killed. Yeah, well, I understand what you're saying, but she's actually very good. If you can separate her persona from her performance, she's good. But Vince Vaughn's very good as a serial killer, and it's he's very funny, and he's got so many comedic chops that to see him in a sort of a sinister serial killer thing is interesting.
Well,
He's good.
Most of this movie is actually the teenage girl.
She's being the
So
serial killer.
he's actually
Yeah,
playing a teenage girl
Good.
in the film. So
good.
Well,
I like
there
it.
you go.
definitely the
Interesting
the
stretch,
comedy,
yeah.
the comedy
Yeah.
stuff. So
Yeah, and if you remember Freaky Friday, that was a mom and a daughter switched in a similar situation,
right.
and that's why
Jamie
they.
Lee Curtis.
Was that Haley Mills?
No.
That's the.
Oh,
No, okay,
my God.
sorry. Brain
That went back quite a few years.
I just,
Good goodness me,
Said
oh
the
my.
wrong old synapse
Yeah.
fired.
Yeah, no, it was Jamie Lee Curtis was the mom, and what's her name?
Right.
Who is probably still in rehab, was the daughter.
Britney Spears?
No.
No,
Britney Spears.
Although she may still be in rehab.
she
too.
is, I think.
What was the name of the movie again?
Freaky.
Oh, so it's just Freaky.
Freaky.
Yes,
yeah.
not Freaky Friday, just
It's like
Freaky.
Freaky 7 days a week kind of
Okay.
But
thing.
since it's Friday, we could
It is
see it on
it's
Friday.
Friday the 13th.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
set that up.
What could go wrong,
We
right?
did that.
Yeah,
I mean, it's
and, you know,
2020.
I for the
Mhm.
longest time, I couldn't, I just couldn't abide Vince Vaughn, but I appreciate him now.
What?
And I think he's really a good actor.
Huh.
Just a lot of the stuff that he's done, he didn't play a very attractive personality.
Give me the names of a couple other Vince Vaughn movies.
Dodgeball.
Wedding
The
Crashers.
Wedding Crashers, yeah.
Two movies I didn't see.
How about how about the Cell?
Oh my!
The Cell?
The Cell?
Yeah,
Oh,
going
yeah,
back.
The
I actually
Cell.
played a serious
With
role.
Jennifer Lopez.
Yeah, Jennifer Lopez.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
Oh, that
Well,
is a good
that's a
movie.
weird. That was
Boy,
a
that
creepy
is
one.
weird.
Yeah, but it's good.
Yeah,
It's
and he did a series, a TV series where he was just tremendous, called True Detective. I think they've done 3 seasons of that now, and each season's with a different cast,
Right.
different location and everything, but it's always very, very gritty, hard-bitten, very well produced.
Not light bitten, hard bitten,
Yeah.
or soft bitten as the case may be.
Crime dramas. And he did 1 season in that. It was just terrific. Woody Harrelson did the first season, and he also was spectacularly good.
And there's an actor who is actually quite versatile. I mean, he's played some really wacky roles, but he's played some good comedic roles, good drama. I mean, he seems to be a pretty versatile actor.
Mhm.
So that's one of the movies that starts today. What else?
Hillbilly Elegy.
Hillbilly Elegy.
Kind of on the other foot there. This is definitely a serious film. But this is a great movie. A lot of Academy Award buzz on this one already. We got directed by Ron Howard, Amy Adams, Glenn Close.
Right.
Kind of looking at the addiction problems and how they kind of
Right?
track through generations and affect different generations.
Wow.
Um,
So this is a serious,
Oh
yeah.
boy, is it ever.
yeah. Andy actually watched it yesterday.
is that right? And how many saw blades did you throw at that?
5.
5 saw blades.
Yeah,
Wow.
I don't do that.
And he doesn't like anything.
Yeah, well, I don't
No,
give,
he likes way too much.
I don't give out 5 saw blades very often.
Wow.
That's true, you
Probably
don't.
the first time this year.
So what about
Wow.
it made it worthy of 5 saw blades?
Primarily the acting by Amy Adams and by Glenn Close, both.
Wow.
It's just
And
absolutely.
this is the movie that we're hearing that Glenn Close may finally get an Academy Award from?
7 nominations
Wow.
for Glenn Close.
Right.
And I don't know of Craig, can you think of a leading actress role, or I guess she would be supporting actress role this year that comes anywhere close to Glenn Close?
Yeah, well, this year's been so
Well,
so.
Have there
off
been any
anyway.
other movies this year?
Well, this is always kind of, maybe a little late in the season, but, they always start kind of rolling out their Academy Award type films at the end of the year, but, that's another one we kind of look at, as the Academy Awards come up,
Right.
for next year. This is a weird year.
Right.
But-
a lot of stuff has been moved.
yeah, I have high hopes for Glenn Close for
Yeah.
this, and Amy Adams as well. Amy Adams is just delicious to look at.
Oh, okay.
She's
Thanks for the
she's
clarification.
just scrumptious, very, very.
And versatile,
Yeah, and as she
Yes.
shows here,
yes.
and they make her unpretty here.
Right.
Yeah, and that's hard. I mean, she's in one of my favorite movies of all time, Enchanted,
Oh, yeah.
which is totally different. I mean, it's a musical, it's a Disney, it's got the greatest score,
Mhm.
wonderful. So, but I know she can do drama really well.
And Andy got all the way through this without using the word delectable once.
He
Well-
thinks we think he's Cole Porter.
Yeah. There you go. So what else is playing at the Sawmill Theaters this week?
But we still have Let Him Go.
Right? How's that been doing?
That's been doing really good.
Yeah.
It's,
And
Kevin Costner.
Kevin Costner.
Diane Lane.
a
I
couple of
think-
great actors.
I think everyone's been enjoying that one.
Oh, very cool.
And the people I've talked to have really liked it too.
Now, did you see it?
Yeah.
And what was your opinion? How many saw blades you throwing at that?
I think 2.
Okay. Caught him on a
But it
grumpy
was
day.
really good.
Yeah. Have you seen that one also?
No,
No. Have you seen anything?
I've been sort of hiatusing.
Hiatusing.
Yeah, I need to get back.
That sounds very hiatus-orific or
I know.
something like that.
Yeah.
But it's time to get back in there. All right, so
Yes.
we've got that one. What else?
War with Grandpa.
Ah,
Still going. PG, good one for the whole family. That's been doing really good too.
and is that De Niro that's in it?
Robert De Niro.
Right.
Yeah, Robert De Niro, Christopher Walken, Cheech Marin.
Boy.
Yeah, got a great cast. Yeah, that's been doing.
And when what other movies can we all think of that had Robert De Niro and Cheech Marin in them together? I mean, that's kind of an odd mix, but it sounds like it must be a great comedy. I'm assuming.
Yes, yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. Like I said, it's a PG family movie.
And oddly enough, Cheech was in one of Kevin Costner's better movies, Tin Cup.
Tin Cup. Oh.
Oh, that was such a great movie.
Yeah, that's a terrific
With the
movie. Yeah.
Wonderful Renee Russo. Oh, she was fabulous.
I liked him in Big Bamboo.
Mhm.
That was a long time ago. Never mind.
Yeah. The guy who never sees movies.
There's
comes
a
up
bunch
with
of
A lot
something
of,
we
lot of
haven't
smoke
seen.
over the water since that one was made.
All the old people started laughing. Anyway, what else we got?
Unforgiven. Still
Unforgiven.
playing. Unforgiven, the old Clint Eastwood movie.
Boy.
Oh, gotta see
And how's
it.
that been doing?
It's done okay. Of course, it's been out there for a while, but yeah, I had a good opportunity to come see that one on the big
It's
screen
so
again.
good.
And
Cool.
It's so good.
I think clearly a top. Well, there's a lot of westerns out there. I mean, at least a top 10 western.
Right?
Up to top 3 anyway.
Wow. Very cool.
I
I
think,
agree
yeah,
with you.
Right.
It's very good. It's very good.
And overall, one of the things that I found kind of encouraging last week in talking with you, Craig, was that it sounds like we're slowly getting back to whatever normal is. And we're not there yet, but we're getting there.
Well, we're hoping, and we're looking, because we're looking at shutdowns all over the place right now as things are kind of,
Right.
unfortunately going in a different direction in a lot of places. That's one of the things here too. Payson might be doing fine, but other parts of the world, even if they're not doing so good, then that affects the movies that we're going to be getting.
Sure.
And we've been seeing a lot of that. But yeah, no, things are the theater. We've had a good weekend. Last weekend was good.
Good.
We are going to be open all week for Thanksgiving.
Oh, great.
So
Alright.
starting next
Good.
Friday, November 20th, we'll be open that whole week then. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday
So
also.
with people off from school and
Yeah,
stuff like that for
school
the
out and
holiday
everything, and for the holiday and everything.
Nice.
Yeah, so we'll do that whole week there, do the full run. We got the Croods coming out on Thanksgiving.
The Croods?
The Croods, yeah. Croods a New Age.
Okay.
It's an animated kids one.
Mhm.
The first Croods did really, really good. It was a great one for the kids and family too.
And we frequently talk about animated movies that are aimed at the smaller humans among us, and how some of them are fun for grown-ups. And the Croods, I believe, would fall into that category.
Yeah.
Between
Definitely.
having kids and now grandkids, and of course I've got grandkids that are college age now, but I have to say, during the past couple of decades, there's a bunch of movies that I wouldn't have watched if the little munchkins weren't around, and there's some
Frozen.
Yeah, there's a few of them that I'd happily watch again.
But another one we got going in that same category, How the Grinch Stole Christmas.
Oh, there you go.
That's coming out next Friday.
Yay.
So Jim Carrey version?
The Jim Carrey version. And actually this is the 20-year anniversary of the theater.
Oh, wow, that's right.
20 years ago on, I don't know if it was exactly November 20th, but that Thanksgiving weekend is when we opened. And then the first film
Wow.
that the theater played was How the Grinch Stole Christmas.
Has it been 20 years since that
20
movie
years.
came out?
Yeah.
And he didn't. I think he could play a lot of different roles, but most of them are, that he's well known for, are a little on the screwy side. But he did an outstanding
Yeah.
job of making that whole Grinch character seem pretty plausible.
Well, Jim Carrey's, I guess, a little controversial. There's some people like him, some people don't, for different reasons.
Well, he stole Christmas. I mean,
his comedy is kind of,
Slapstick?
some people it's a little
Yeah.
bit too much.
Yeah.
But I think kind of in the really Jerry Lewis. I mean,
Yeah,
Jerry Lewis was
yeah.
a little kind of off too. I mean,
Slapstick sort of
I
stuff, and
agree.
it's edgy humor, but I mean, it's funny stuff, but I'd like to see what he eats for lunch, because there's something there, it's a little
well, yeah,
different.
Steve Martin. Some of it, you know, the
Oh,
jerk.
there's a
The,
good
the
one,
jerk
yeah.
was kind of
Yeah.
Jim.
I was
Jim,
born at an early age.
Yeah, or
Yes.
Jim Carrey was kind of.
I was born a poor
jerkish.
black child.
Oh, that's right,
Yeah.
that's right.
Right.
But yeah, so Jim Carrey then in How the Grinch Stole Christmas, and we're gonna do Planes, Trains, and Automobiles too.
Wow, that's a classic.
Oh.
Yeah, another good.
Yeah.
Well, it's a good holiday one for
Well,
Thanksgiving.
Take the family out. to
Speaking
the
of Steve
movies.
Martin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And of course, most importantly, over and above all of this, the concession stand is fully open.
Popcorn.
Are you still selling that in bulk if people want?
Yes, oh sure. Yeah,
Cool.
popcorn to go. $10 for a ice bag.
Gotta love it. And there's no ice in the bag either, so it's good. So always good things going on at the Sawmill Theaters.
And, I mean, you're absolutely right, always good things going on at the
Yeah.
Sawmill Theaters. I will be, this week, Wednesday saw Midway,
Ooh.
the Charlton Heston version of it, the
Right.
good one. Thank you very much, Craig, for letting us show that one for Veterans Day. And boy, great turnout too. That was sponsored by the Rim Country Republican Club.
Right.
And then yesterday, I got to see the best movie of the year, Hillbilly Elegy.
Right.
You know, it's about addiction and multi-generational family. Really heart-wrenching, true story, by the way.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Well, it is. It's sadly true. I mean, the trauma that addiction can relay from one generation to the next through a family, and all the weirdness that goes along with it. So I'm sure this is a might not be the a heartwarming movie to watch, but it sounds. I mean, you gave it 5 saw blades, so it must be good.
Yeah. Well, I mean, with all of their troubles, the family members certainly demonstrated their love and commitment to one another,
That's beautiful.
which horrible situations.
I watched a little bit of it, but yeah, it's not a total downer film.
Right.
I think there's some.
Oh, yeah,
You know,
absolutely.
there's still some positive messaging in there, and the ending wasn't a total.
Yeah, no, it's a little upbeat at the end.
Yes, yeah.
And,
And here's a hint: the butler didn't do it.
yeah,
Yeah.
Ron Howard, by the way, the magnificent director, directed this, and I thought he did a terrific job. And the grandfather in the family is Bo Hopkins. And,
Oh, yeah.
Bo has been in, I don't know, like 120 movies and
Yeah.
TV shows.
Really?
Yeah.
And this will kind of twist your head around a little bit. Bo Hopkins was in American Graffiti, 1977.
Whoa.
He was the guy in he was a race guy anyway. He was one of the
Well,
race-
with Jeff Bridges and
One
Sybil
of the-
Shepherd and
I didn't realize he'd been
and
at it that
Harrison
long.
Ford and
And-
geez,
and
wow.
I almost did the Linda Blair thing there all of a sudden.
and Ron Howard was in the same movie.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Can you imagine that?
I mean, that's a
1977.
span. Yeah.
Bo Hopkins and Ron Howard in the same movie, and then in 2020, they're associated in the same movie here.
Right.
I was in high school in '77. It was so long ago. Those stone tablets were a bummer too. Real quick, when it comes to Ron Howard, you were mentioning, what an amazing director he is. Has he ever done anything that tanked? I mean, I think just about everything I know of that he's done is done.
I don't know. I liked Splash.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
I like-
And Cocoon.
Oh, Cocoon.
Oh,
That was good.
yeah.
And we mentioned that last week, and I kind of Googled his directing stuff, and
Yeah. He's
honestly,
really
yeah, it's been pretty solid.
he did Backdraft, didn't he?
Yep,
do Backdraft?
yep,
I didn't
Fireman.
realize that.
Yeah.
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 Beautiful
Yep.
Mind.
Yes. Oh my
I'd
God.
So
like
yeah,
to-
he got
Yeah.
2 Academy Awards for that
For the-
because
the
he
Beautiful Mind.
both produced and directed.
Right.
He won Best Picture as the producer and Best Director because he directed it.
Right.
And he might get another one for directing this one.
I've liked him ever since the Andy Griffith Show.
Oh, yeah. So
Yeah,
just
Ronnie?
irrepressibly cheerful,
Yeah,
and I appreciate that.
good stuff. So one of the other questions that came to my mind this morning, because I know that it was on tap to come out, but there was all this COVID nonsense going on, there was some delays. What do we know about the next installment of Avatar?
Next year.
Is it just pushed off to next year?
Next December, yeah.
Wow, so it's not even completed yet?
You know,
Or
I'm
they
not
just
sure, I'm not
showed
sure if
it?
they had it completely finished or not. It was supposed to come out this December.
Right.
So I'm sure if it's not completely done, it's very close.
They're just aging it like a fine
Uh-huh.
wine.
Well, everything got bumped, you know, that's,
That was one of those movies, though, that, you know, there was so much talk about, I mean, there was people that were actually depressed following the movie because they didn't want to come back to reality. They wanted to stay in that place. And it was a real interesting trip into another world that was kind of cool.
well, this one, I guess they're going underwater with it too, so
Oh,
it's gonna get
boy.
even, yeah, it's gonna be even, generally, anything like 3D films like that, when you go underwater or out into space, it really tends to make that stuff, you know, the 3D pop, so this is gonna be, you know, we'll have another Star Wars film next year then too in December.
Very cool.
That was another one that was gonna be coming out, they pushed all that stuff back.
So what are some of the other biggies that are, or, you know, bigger ones that are
Oh.
expected to be coming out over the holidays? Any others that, this
Wonder
year?
Woman,
Wonder Woman.
yeah, Wonder Woman was a big one,
Gal Gadot.
All of our bets are on that chip.
hopefully, yeah, hopefully
Yeah.
we're still, I actually, I was reading this morning, they're, Warner Brothers now is considering either pushing it to 2021,
Oh,
or they may go ahead and release it on Christmas Day and then go with a short window and release it on HBO Max
Huh.
to try to bump up their subscriptions on HBO Max. So we'll see on that one. There's a Tom Hanks too, News of the World, Tom Hanks Western coming out on Christmas too.
A Western.
Yes, yeah, that one's still holding also.
Tom Hanks in a Western?
Yeah.
That's gonna be, I mean,
It
because I
looks-
think, I
looks
mean,
pretty
he
good.
could,
He's done everything else.
I mean,
so,
yeah, that would be
yeah.
about the only, I mean, but he hasn't played a woman in a movie yet that I know of.
Maybe you didn't notice. No.
But, yeah, oh well, but,
yeah,
but
I'm very excited to see that.
Yeah, me too.
One of the terrible things about the plague year is that I have yet to see Greyhounds, which was his 2020 movie.
Right.
It's about destroyers in World War II.
and they went straight to the web.
I don't know
for that,
where it
didn't
went.
I went to Apple TV. It's the only place you can watch it.
they? Yeah, that's why I haven't seen it.
Yeah, I think Apple swooped that one up for. I think they paid $50 million for it.
Oh my word!
Wow,
Goodness.
apparently they've got some good revenue
So
streams there.
speaking of Avatar,
Yes,
and just segueing into something really bizarre, we have a, a very close friend who's been staying with us, and he turned us, you know, people come and they into your lives, and they turn you on to stuff that you would never ordinarily even know about, much less watch.
that's right.
And I can't remember if the title is Movie Pitch, but the guy's name is Ryan George, and he's on YouTube. And the whole, and for us movie guys, it's wonderful. He plays himself pitching a movie to a producer who is also himself. And Avatar is one of the ones that he pitches, and it's hysterical. You know, when you break it down into let's do this and what about this and
Or I want to make a movie about
yeah,
giant
yeah.
people with blue tails.
it is absolutely just a hoot over the top.
Right.
And his big line, you know, that kind of reappears throughout each of the segments of this, you know, this little comedy is, oh, it's easy, barely an inconvenience to make blue people fly through the air.
Sure.
Yeah. So anyway, Ryan George, Google him, watch him on YouTube if you need something funny, and who among us does not right now?
Yep.
Yeah,
True.
He's really good.
Well, and Avatar as well. One last little plug for some strange reason. I love 3D movies. I like being one of those nerds, you know, with the 3D glasses, and I enjoy that more immersive sort of experience. I don't know of any movie I've ever seen that that pulled off the 3D thing as well as
Oh, yeah.
Avatar. I mean,
Yeah.
I know my wife and I went and saw it, and she was complaining she couldn't watch because she was starting to get a little motion sick
Yeah.
just watching it. But I was like a little kid in a candy store.
Yeah,
To
it
me,
is, it
great.
was really amazing.
It was also strange because we got there late, so we sat in the front row.
Oh,
And sitting in the front row looking straight up was
Yeah.
kind of a trip.
talk about addiction, you don't need drugs for that. You
Yeah,
know, it's
that's
really-
right.
Yeah,
Definitely a trip, no
yeah,
doubt.
really.
And boy, Sigourney Weaver has sure been in a lot of movies too.
Boy,
You know,
and played
she's-
some interesting roles.
She's an Avatar too.
Right.
Yeah.
And she's played, I mean, she's played a lot of really weird roles at times, but very believably so. So good
Yeah.
stuff. Hey, we're out of time for the radio version of your hometown movie, guys, but you can follow along with us. We still have another half hour to go. I know Craig's got to get back to work, but the rest of us are going to stay here. Well, that's what he calls it. But at any rate, we're going to continue on Facebook Live. So go to KRIM FM on Facebook, and you'll see us there live. And we're going to be talking about movies with the theme of addiction, and see where our movie experts take us with that. In the meantime, you can always find out what's playing and when it's playing by just going online to sawmilltheaters.com, and they've got the whole movie lineup there, when they're playing and all that. So get on out there, support the local theater. You know, it's been a rough year for a lot of us, but what a great way to take a break from all the weirdness in our world and just immerse yourself in a movie and be supporting a great business here locally that supports a lot of great causes. So get on down to the Sawmill Theaters, check out the movies. Again, go online to sawmilltheaters.com to find out more about that. And meanwhile, here on KRIM, we're going to get you back to more of your favorite music. Coming up, have some tunes for you from Janis Joplin, Spencer Davis Group, Big Head Todd and the Monsters. I might have to listen to that just to find out what that is. Bob Marley is coming along as well, but first a quick look at Rim Country weather. Big Head Todd and the Monsters.
Talk about addiction, Bob
This
Marley
morning's key.
and Janis Joplin.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Craig's movie is Leaving Las Vegas.
Oh,
okay.
yes. I'll write that
So I got
down.
the battery on the whole building has one panel, of course, right next to my office. The battery's going dead on it. So every 15 minutes, the alarm goes off on it. So it goes zzz, and you got to go over and hit the trouble acknowledge, and then it stops. And then 15 minutes later, it goes zzz,
Oh, man.
and you got. And they're not going to be here till Monday, so
Oh.
Now look at this, not as a challenge, not as a problem, but as an opportunity to expand your vocabulary
Yes.
in a less than
And
positive way.
perhaps the concession stand too.
yeah, I don't know.
Hey, well, have a good weekend.
Take care.
See you next
Yeah.
week. All right, so again, thanks for joining us on
Switch
Facebook
chairs.
Live, and we want to talk a little bit about movies with an addiction theme, and I don't know, I'm kind of struggling with that one, and I know I asked the question before we went on the air here about what about A Clockwork Orange? I mean, I don't know, somebody was addicted to something when they came up with that movie.
Well, Stanley Kubrick.
Yeah, there's some chemical additives there or something. But,
Yeah, but that's a very philosophically challenging movie
Yeah,
about
it
do
is.
you stop violence
right?
in certain ways, and what does it do? What does it take away from the persona in addition to getting rid of the violence?
Right.
So,
Yeah. That was a great movie. I'd like to see that again. Some
Yeah.
fantastic music.
And the book was great. Anthony Burgess wrote the book.
Huh.
Yeah, and it's a really, because it's so long ago, people kind of dismiss it. Well, but it's very current. I think, especially since you have people rioting.
Not anymore.
Well, just give it time.
Yeah, you never know.
Yeah.
So when we talk about movies with a theme of addiction, what comes to your mind?
Hillbilly Elegy.
Oddly enough, playing right now at the
Yeah.
Sawmill Theater.
Right.
And this is a multi-generational family from Appalachia. They're from someplace in Kentucky that is the family seat. And if you go back to the genesis of the story, the grandparents' generation, the grandma who becomes, she grows up, ends up being Glenn Close, gets knocked up when she's 13, and her boyfriend split and moved to Ohio, which is right near to Kentucky,
Right.
and he goes to work in a steel mill, and they have a checkered relationship. He drinks.
Right.
At one point, he comes home drunk, and she sets fire to him when he passes out.
Great fun at parties.
Ah,
Keep in mind, the only microphone we have on right now is over here, so
okay, speak up.
we may need to speak up.
Speak
But
up.
so he's
Project.
taking a nap and she lights him on
No,
fire.
she's not taking a nap. He's passed out, dead
Passed out.
drunk.
Ah, well, okay, so an involuntary nap.
Yeah, yeah. So that's that generation. Then the next generation, there's no husband or father mentioned. Amy Adams has 2 kids. We have no idea who their father is. She has an ambitious love life, I suppose is a good way to put it.
Ambitious.
Okay. And eventually she becomes addicted to heroin. And if you have a single mom addicted to heroin, it's not a good situation.
No, that's not pretty at all.
At all.
Yeah.
And her son is J.D. Vance, the author, and he wrote Hillbilly Elegy, and also, well, I guess he didn't have anything to do with the movie, but it's about his family. It's his autobiographical thing, and the idea that when you have problems in one generation, it almost inevitably cascades into the next generation. I had a chance one time to hear a talk by Charles Colson, and he mentioned that he was a Watergate conspirator.
I've met Chuck Olson.
Went to prison, and later became involved in prison ministries, which is a great thing when you go to prison, and you improve yourself
Right.
by the experience. But he said they did a thing at I think it was Joliet Prison in Illinois, and 50% of the inmates who were in for killing, various kinds of killing, that 50% of them had a first degree family member who had also killed somebody. Father, uncle, brother.
So the apple really doesn't fall far from the tree.
The apple does not fall from the tree, and boy, oh boy, it's not just the the terrible results of addiction on the individuals involved, but it just keeps going and keeps going and keeps going.
So it sounds like it's something we can actually, especially because it's a true story, there's probably a lot of things we can learn from this. At least as far as perhaps our level of empathy for other families that are struggling with addiction and stuff like that, it kind of maybe help clarify some of that, because it's easy to just, they're drugged out, and just kind of dismiss the whole thing, where at least through this perhaps we can understand a little bit more about what brings people to make the decisions that they make. Maybe?
Yeah, no, it's absolutely, it's one of those movies that I really don't appreciate very much, because I don't like thinker movies. I like explosion movies.
And zombies.
Well, and zombies too, yeah, I like zombie
Dance
movies.
float.
Yeah, so.
Yeah. Well, interesting. So, Tina, what about you? When you think of addiction movies, what's the first movie or two that come to your mind?
One of the ones that made the most impression on me, and I was pretty young when I saw it, was Jack Lemmon and Lee Remick in The Days of Wine and Roses, which was about AA. It was about the formation of AA, and that is the most poignant and well acted. Jack Lemmon has so many he's versatile in so many ways. He can be obviously being a comedian in Some Like It Hot.
Right.
But man, that was just a bludgeon of a movie. And as a child, I mean, I can't remember how old I was, but it was the 50s, I think, so.
Was it that long
Yeah,
ago?
yeah, and I mean,
Wow.
and I was maybe 10 or 11 or 12 or something when I saw it. She, they're alcoholics, and it's the dynamics of being an alcoholic couple. And then when one really makes the decision to stop drinking, what happens? And, I've been to AA, I've been to Al-Anon, and one of the things that they tell you in Al-Anon is that when the addict stops drinking, the alcoholic, you believe, if I could just get him or her to stop drinking, then all the problems would be solved. And they point out to you that the people who are drinking in that addictive way are stuffing and covering their problems. And when they stop drinking, that's when everything really comes up.
Right.
And you see that in this movie. Spoiler alert, he decides that he is really going to go dry, and she can't. And it's, I actually need to see that movie again, just
Wow.
to reacquaint
Days
myself.
of Wine and Roses?
Yes,
Wow.
yes, and it really does give accolades to AA and what it does for people and the formation of it.
And then also your point about Al-Anon as well. I mean, that's more focused on the family members
Right,
and
if
how to
you-
deal
if-
with the stuff that they're
If you're a
going through.
family member, then you go to Al-Anon to deal with the addiction of someone that you're related to
Right.
or involved with. And I've been to both, so, yeah. But when I saw this, it was in Singapore when we were living there, and it was very common for people to just drink like fish. The Brits drank like, crazy. I mean, gin and tonics, woo, man, all over the place. And the Americans who were expats, it was just cocktails and endless, you start with cocktails, then you have wine with dinner, then you have aperitifs, and so on and so forth. And the alcoholism, I'm sure, was way higher than I was aware of. But that movie, man.
You bring up an interesting point too, in that historically, back through time, let's go even to a different version of addiction. A lot of the cigarette companies were paying movies to make sure that people in the movie were smoking cigarettes.
Oh, yeah.
So that,
Yeah.
I want to be like the guy on the big screen.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. And of course, similarly, I think with alcohol and pushing specific brands and stuff like that, there's been a lot of that purposely done.
And I'm glad you mentioned cigarettes, because my mother, God bless her, she at one time was smoking 4 packs a day.
Ooh, wow.
No kidding. And was told, you better take a look and you better stop. And she did. She went cold turkey.
After
wasn't
4
he-
packs a day,
it
that must
wasn't-
have been terrible.
She went cold turkey and was going through menopause. So we were almost begging her to start smoking again. But yeah,
Menopause
that's
and quitting
addiction.
smoking after 4 packs a day, it's time for the rest of the family to take a vacation for a
That's
little while.
addiction. That's addiction.
Ooh,
Yeah.
that's tough, yeah.
Yeah.
But it'd be interesting though. So what other
Yeah,
movies come to mind?
in Hillbilly Elegy, oddly enough, Glenn Close in almost every scene has a cigarette in her mouth.
Really?
And
Sure. It
ev-
goes with
Yeah.
addiction.
Yep.
I mean, it is an addiction, but when you're addicted to one thing, there's this often nicotine cigarette thing.
Well, an addictive behavior, yeah, I mean, it can,
Sure.
it can, require more than one thing to be addicted to, I guess.
Right.
And, I take your point very, very well about people that are addicted to alcohol or drugs, doesn't matter, often have, really, really serious underlying problems.
Yeah.
It isn't just the somebody taking a knuckleheaded dare and start smoking crack. And apparently meth is meth is different from crack, but meth is the sort of a thing that you can one attempt and you can be
addicted.
hooked.
Well, and I've heard too with that, I've never been around that, but I've heard that the very first high with that is supposed to be amazing, and after that, you never get as, you never reach that same level
Right,
of
so
high,
you
but
keep
you're always
trying
trying.
to get back to that.
And, man, what a horrible down, you
Yeah.
know, downward spiral that would be.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
the Chinese had a term for opium addicts. They said they were chasing the dragon.
Yes,
And I think that
Perfect.
is kind of the same sense that,
Yeah.
that you're talking about.
and the
They're
problem.
trying to get back to that first
Yeah.
magnificent high.
Right.
Well, the problem also is you have these drugs that are valid painkillers. And the society goes back and forth with this. You know, there's times where you need to give painkillers to people, particularly people who are terminally ill, terminal
Sure.
cancer. They were being horribly abused by having a restriction. Oh, you're dying. Oh, you're seriously not gonna live. Oh, but we can't have you be an addict. You know, and yeah. And so I've seen that because I have a couple of friends who, are very responsibly on pain medication. And the back and forth with the politics of this is so poignant to see when these people really need some pain relief, and yet there's that fine line between what is pain relief and what is addiction. It's one of the physiological things about which I read was that if you need it for pain relief, it doesn't tend to make you as addicted as if you are just using it for, the mind numbing.
Recreational or whatever.
whatever, recreational.
Stop the pain.
Yes, but yeah.
I've only been around that in hospice settings, and I know that, when you're talking final days, there can be a lot of pain, and in my opinion, I don't think anybody's concerned about, there being an addiction, they just want to.
Well,
be
the
more
government
comfortable.
is sometimes. I mean, sometimes people are. It's like, oh, we can't have them be terminally ill and addicted. It was like, oh, I'm terminally ill and I'm in such excruciating pain and I'm
Yeah.
begging you to kill me.
Right.
That's how bad it can be.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
yeah.
But in answer to your question,
Yes,
train spotting.
train
Oh,
spotting.
train spotting, yeah, yeah.
This is gonna come as a shock to you, but I don't think I've ever heard of that movie.
Mm.
It's
Not,
a new
I'm
one.
not shocked, not shocked at all.
I noticed you didn't fall off his chair.
Ho hum.
But,
So how long ago did this come out?
10, 15 years,
Something, yeah.
something like that.
Yeah.
It's in
Trainspotting.
this century.
Yeah,
Who's
this
in it?
century.
Uh,
It's British.
It's British,
Yeah,
yeah. It's
it's-
actually set in Scotland.
Was that
Oh,
Guy
wow.
Ritchie?
I don't think so.
No.
But it might have been
Okay.
somebody famous, I don't know. We'll have to look it
So
up.
men in skirts and stuff like that, or what?
But it is just absolutely
Yeah,
horrifying.
Oh,
it is.
really?
Oh, yeah, it's about a group of friends. It was a half a dozen or so of them, I guess.
Right.
And they're divorced from the reality that the rest of the world shares.
Mhm.
In one scene, they go to an old people's home and just boldly rush through the campus, stealing everybody's medicine, in the hopes that some of them will be something that'll get them high.
Right.
Wow,
But it's just.
that's got a dark edge to it.
Yeah, and it's, I can't remember the guy's name, but it's the same guy that was in the Full Monty, and
Oh, yeah.
he was
yeah.
also in 28 Days Later.
Right,
I can't think of his name right now.
right. Yeah. And just making me think of this, it's on Netflix right now. It's a series called The Queen's Gambit. And it is about a female chess player back in the 60s. She's a chess prodigy. And when she's a little kid, she's orphaned and sent to an orphanage where she they give them actually pills. They give them, and it's implied that they're uppers, so that they will.
Some Ritalin analog.
Yeah, and this is back in the day when they just a lot of things were more fast and loose about this kind of thing, and she becomes very, very addicted to it in a way that allows her to visualize chess moves, so that she is a lot more proficient when she is on these drugs. And the question is, do some of these things make you more
Relax something else so that you can focus more, or?
yeah, so you're getting high to get this experience of whatever it is. And sometimes those experiences lead you to something that you wouldn't have been able to accomplish without them. I mean, it's a, you know, it's a backward, we are predisposed to getting high. It's in our genes because we have these receptors in our bodies for, you know, for heroin, the opiates, and all of those. And this, you know, why were we made like that? That's a good question.
Well, taking this all and just putting it on its ear for a second, as far as the you know, the idea of, you know, movies about addiction and, you know, people's choices that, you know, bring them to become addicted and that kind of thing. There's also one really well-known movie that I think is kind of almost a polar opposite on that, because it's in a situation where people are being forced to take different meds to control them. How about One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest?
Oh my God, so yeah.
And that's, I mean, that's one of those movies that I've seen it multiple times, and it's not easy to watch.
Oh, man.
But I mean, that was a superbly done movie.
Yeah.
But you know, when you're talking a mental institution, and this was set back in the days where things, thankfully, at least here in the States, were a little different in mental institutions back then than they are now. But you know, with people that are, you know, strange behavior, hey, let's just give them dopey pill number 3 and keep them drooling on themselves in the corner.
Or give them a frontal lobotomy at the end.
And I know that this has something to do with addiction too, but I'd rather have a bottle in front of me than a frontal lobotomy. You know, but that was just, I thought, in fact, do we remember who did that movie off the top of your head? I don't.
Milos Forman, I think.
Really?
I think.
That's just,
but it was
to me, it's
Jack
one of the better
Nicholson,
movies.
of course, and then what's her name who played Nurse Ratched?
Oh yeah.
And there's a series right now on Netflix. I haven't seen it yet, but my best friend told me about it, that I should see it. It's called Ratched, and it's like Ratched the early days.
Right.
Yeah, so that is amazing.
Hero in the movie for me was the big Indian dude.
Oh, wasn't he great?
Yeah, that's a great movie.
Yeah.
I mean, it's again
Also,
not a movie about addiction, but I
Yeah.
got off on a tangent.
Well, no,
The big Indian dude co-starred with Arnold Schwarzenegger in Predator.
yes, he did.
Oh wow!
Yay,
Wow.
yeah.
Little known
Yeah,
fact.
Ken Kesey,
That's it, yeah.
the writer
Who wrote it?
wrote the original book. Also,
Right.
the guy that wrote the electric acid Kool-Aid test.
So, what do you think that's about?
The electric acid what?
Kool-Aid test.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So he was Ken Kesey.
I'm guessing this was from the 60s?
Yeah.
Yeah, the early
There you go.
early days.
The early days, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Peace, love, and really groovy beats.
Oh yeah. Well, you know, if you remember the '60s, you weren't there.
Yeah. Some truth to that. That's fascinating, though. I mean, it's. I didn't even thought about, you know, movies with an addiction theme until we started talking this morning.
What's the?
Oh, yeah, that
the Las Vegas.
Oh, Leaving Las Vegas.
No, not Leaving Las Vegas.
That was Craig's choice.
That was Craig's
Yeah,
choice,
right.
Leaving Las Vegas.
Yeah.
And that's a
Oh, Hunter Thompson.
Hunter Thompson.
Yeah.
Fear and Loathing.
Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas.
Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas.
Oh man, definitely addiction movie. Yeah,
Well, he's
so-
addicted to pretty much everything available.
Yeah, Hunter Thompson was the guy. Remember, he invented the word gonzo, which is a great word.
Mhm.
Yeah, he was gonzo. Yeah, and Johnny Depp plays him, and apparently Johnny Depp bonded with him to learn how to play him, and did a good job, according to
And-
Hunter Thompson.
Yeah, and you can see
Some might think a little too good, but
Yeah.
You can see the progenitor of the Jack Sparrow
Yeah.
character
Definitely.
in this. Yeah.
some of the same mannerisms.
Yeah.
Gonzoism was growing. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, but
There was more there
Amazing.
than bottles of rum, though.
Yeah.
amazing constitution that Hunter S. Thompson had
Yes.
to survive as long as he did.
Yeah,
Huh.
yeah. I've got one which is, it makes fun of alcoholism, and it is very funny. Arthur.
Oh
with
yeah.
my
Dudley
gosh, I
Moore and
forgot all
John
about-
Gielgud.
That's
And
70s.
Liza Minnelli.
Gielgud was just so
Oh
funny.
my God, yeah, and he was the butler who
Yeah.
did it.
And
Right,
I can't
but-
say some of his lines,
Oh,
but
my goodness,
it was
yes.
really funny.
But you know, Liza Minnelli was in that, and she was great. And Dudley Moore.
I haven't thought of that movie in a long time, but instantly
Yeah.
I go back, and that was a tremendously entertaining movie.
It was, and it was the funny drunk, you know,
Right.
which those of us who have encountered alcoholism in, you know, others and so on, it's not always funny.
Yeah.
But Dudley Moore made it really, really funny. He did. And, he comes from the background of that British comedy, Peter Cook and Dudley Moore,
Right.
in which he played, and this is not addiction, but there was a movie called Bedazzled. Remember that? Where he and Dudley Moore and Peter Cook, it was the Faust story, where the devil tempts. Peter Cook is Satan, and the great Elizabeth Hurley was in that. Yes.
Yep.
Yes, she was.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yep.
And an addiction to whatever you want if you're willing to sell your soul. So I am stretching the theme, but I can do that. I'm a movie guy.
That's right. And we're about out of time, and I know DJ Pammy's got to get in here and get ready for her hour. But the
Movies are fun.
oh yeah,
Movies are fun.
And the thing is it's such a great escape, especially right now. I mean, depending on how dialed into all the nonsense we see through the media and everything else, you can get really kind of obsessed with some of that. And maybe if you are, it's just a good idea to take a little bit of time off and go down and watch a movie and just escape reality for a couple hours and
Give
check out
yourself a
something.
big screen lift.
Right.
Yes.
That's a good idea.
big screen lift. I
A
like
big
that.
screen lift, a big screen gift.
Ooh,
Really,
the gift lift. I
a
like it.
gift lift.
A lift gift.
I'm gonna go see Freaky today.
Oh, yeah?
Freaky.
Yeah. Cool.
And who's in that again?
Vince
It's
Vaughn.
fun.
It's fun.
Yeah.
Vince
And how-
Vaughn and some girl.
Are you going to go see movies again?
I'm gonna try. Yes, I mean, I really need to get back. I've just got so much stuff going on at home.
I hear
Not
you.
relevant, but
I hear you.
Yeah. So.
Well, I'm anxious to get back down there myself. There's been a couple here recently that I missed, but I'm looking forward to hopefully some of the newer flicks coming out soon. And there's always good stuff playing though, and good for the whole family.
Yes, yesterday I saw a movie where Robin Williams was his last movie, and he played the voice of a talking dog in a movie that was produced and starred actually a big chunk of the Monty Python people.
Ah,
And that was pretty
yeah.
darn
and now for
funny.
something
Yeah.
completely different.
It was pretty funny.
Well,
I mean, just
Yeah.
ridiculous,
Well,
but funny.
And real quick, I know we got to go here, but when you mentioned Robin Williams, one of my
Oh.
favorite actors of all time,
Yeah.
and I mean, he played some very serious roles. He played some hilarious comedic roles,
And he struggled with addiction.
and it
Yeah.
comes back to that.
Yeah, my favorite line though is cocaine. His line about cocaine. Yeah, anything that makes you impotent and paranoid. Give me more of that.
And there goes the neighborhood. Anyway, thanks again for joining us on Facebook Live. Thank you guys for being in here. We look forward to having you back in next Friday.
Yeah.
Yep, well, we'll come, because we like being here.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And hello out there in Facebook Live land.
Yes.